With thanks to the City of BRIMBANK across our neighbourhood and the world, the Sports Hour with Max Hatzoglou on BRIMBANK Live on Live FM.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports Hour on BRIMBANK Live on Live FM. Great to have your company, and now we're going to go straight to our next guest, a superstar of the Fremantle Dockers Football Club. He got drafted there last year, and now he's in his first year at the club, and he's one of the favourites for the Rising Star Award. We welcome Caleb Sorong to the Sports Hour. How you going, Caleb?
Hey, Max. Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
No worries. Pleasure to have you on. And how's all this travel been for you this season? Now you're in Cairns, I'm guessing?
Yes, yeah. Just got to Cairns yesterday. So we got to Gold Coast a few days ago now. I think it was on Sunday. We flew up after the game against the Giants, and then was there for a few days and then played against the Tigers on Wednesday, and then flew up straight to Cairns after that. So, yeah, it's been an interesting year. I think everyone would agree. And we kind of went to the hub at the start of the year up in Goldie, and then kind of went back home for a few weeks. So that was good to be back home. But, yeah, back on the road now, and season's nearly done, so just getting through it.
And going to Perth, like traveling's a big factor, not just in a year like this when we're in hubs or you're in hubs. What has that been like? How have you found that challenge being with the travel and being in Perth?
Yeah, it's a lot longer flights than I'm used to. From Victoria to Queensland, it's only 2 hours, and then from Perth to anywhere is usually 4 or 5 hours. So it's a long time on the plane. I'm kind of getting used to that, but yeah, I've loved Perth as a place. It's Freo as a club as well. It's been fantastic. I'd never been to Perth before I got drafted, and to kind of head over there for the first time and be embraced by the club and the place as well. It's fantastic. It's a really relaxed and chilled environment, and I'm really enjoying it.
And the way you've been playing this year has been exceptional. No one expects this from a first-year AFL player. So, what has been the turning point for you? You think this year, and what has really worked for you, and sort of just brought together all these really good performances?
I think for a big thing for me was just before the shutdown, heading into round one. I had a bit of a pretty solid chat with JL. And he was just kind of coming to me and said I wasn't going to be playing in round one, and I was going to be emergency. It wasn't far off, but there was just a few things I needed to work on, in particular my kind of spread from the contest. And he thought my contest stuff was good as a mid, but I just needed to work on my spread. And felt like the shutdown period, going back home and just being able to essentially have another pre-season under my belt, that was a real beneficial thing for me. And I worked really hard over the shutdown. I felt like I came back a lot fitter, lost a couple of kilos as well, and kind of came back in really good shape, and felt like that was kind of the kickstart for my year. And then, yeah, after a few games, you kind of get a bit more confidence. And I think after my first kind of 4 or 5 games, I started to get the feel of the game and the speed. And, yeah, I was able to back myself a bit more and kind of use my strengths.
And when you did come back and you played your first few games, there was a bit of a difference between the way you started your AFL career and your debut and the games after, and it seemed to just have clicked. Maybe in your third or fourth game, were there some techniques that helped you throughout that period to really click as a player and just get your confidence, or was it just transitioning and getting more belief?
Yeah, I think it does take a few games. Sometimes some guys it takes 1 or 2 games, or some guys it takes a couple of years to kind of feel comfortable. But I felt probably going on my 5th game against the Cats. I kind of got given the task of kind of following Paddy Dangerfield around a bit, and I kind of went through that week a few techniques with Josh Carr, our midfield coach, about how I'd approach it, and just a few technical stuff in terms of body work and how I was going to work him, because he's a big boy, he's a lot stronger than I am. So I think that game gave me a lot of confidence. Playing in the wet as well probably helped me. And then from that game, I felt like I just kind of was able to back myself. Got a little bit more time on the ground as well, which always helps. Out there for a bit longer so you can impact the game a bit more. But I think for me, it was just kind of that confidence that felt like it wasn't too much change from that kind of game 4 to game 5, but it was just more just mental. I felt like I belonged a lot more. And from that point, I've kind of been able to back myself. And if the ball's there, I'm kind of backing myself to win it. And yeah, I think it's just comes down to having confidence in your strengths and in your ability. So that's kind of what it came down to, I reckon.
And what's been the most enjoyable aspect in your first season? You guys have had a pretty good year. You guys are still young, but you've performed well for where you guys are sort of at.
Yeah,
What
I
have
think.
you,
Yeah, no, we've had a lot of improvement from the start. I felt like learning a new system is always tough. I think for me, it's kind of the only system I know coming in, but I'm still learning it, and everyone else is learning a new system under JL compared to Ross. So I think everyone's kind of getting better each week in terms of the system and playing their role and learning their role. So that's been a good challenge. But I think in terms of the most enjoyable part, the young crew and at Freo and going to the hub kind of situation has been fantastic. I've absolutely loved it. Kind of got to know the boys a lot better, especially the young boys like Andy Brayshaw, Adam Chera. A few of the other young boys haven't played much this year, like Steph Duro and Luke Valenti. Those boys are kind of getting really close with through the hub kind of scenario. And I feel like everyone's really enjoying it and embraced it and getting a lot better through this period.
and this year, playing against your old mate last week, Thompson Dow for Richmond. What was that experience like? It must have been a little bit unique not being on his team this time and being in an AFL game.
Yeah, definitely. The last 2 years played with him and tried to kind of work alongside him to get the best out of each other. And there we were playing in our first AFL season against each other, trying to beat each other. So it was definitely an interesting experience. But I think for us, both of us, that was a kind of dream come true. Both wanted to play AFL footy for a long time, and kind of we've both helped each other along the way the last 2 years. We've trained a lot together, done a lot of gym stuff together, bounced ideas and how we're feeling off each other. So kind of see him out there, it was really cool. I think especially in his first game the week before, and then to play alongside him, against him, it was pretty cool. He's come a long way, and I feel like we're both kind of on the right track and improving each week. So it was definitely pretty special, and had a bit of a chat to him after the game. But yeah, hopefully we'll be able to catch up with him soon and kind of debrief about all of it. But yeah, we've been in contact, which has been pretty cool.
And you're living away from home. You're a country boy in Victoria. What's that been like, living away from home? And what would be your advice this year for the guys trying to get into the AFL system and find themselves at an AFL club? What's your advice to them, and also what's it been like being so far away from home?
Yeah, I think being away from home, I haven't found it too bad. Considering I was at boarding school for year 11 and 12, and that kind of set me up well to head away from home. But it's another challenge, kind of being in Perth rather than just being in Geelong. 2 hours away drive in Geelong compared to a 5-hour flight or 4.5-hour flight in Perth. So, especially with COVID this year, it's been tough. Especially probably the last 4 months. I don't think I've seen any of my family or friends from back home. So that's had its own challenges itself. But to be honest, I've got a lot of new friends at the club, and they're my new family at the moment. So it's been great to have them here and really enjoying their company. But in terms of the draftees issue, I think for me it was just kind of having a good balance between footy and school, because you can tire yourself out pretty quick thinking about just the draft and everything's going on in footy. So to have that kind of release with your friends or school or whatever it was really, really important for me to kind of keep you mentally fresh just as well as physically fresh. So that's a big thing. But then again, it's tough this year because they've got another challenge in COVID and not being able to play the Vic boys, which I didn't have. And that'd be another mental kind of drainer that they'd have to deal with. So, but I think for them, it's just embracing it and kind of try and be positive and get the best out of themselves, whether that's training or gym or kind of any way to improve themselves. Because yeah, once they get to an AFL club, it's going to be full steam ahead and kind of getting stuck into it pretty quick. So just make sure they're kind of ready to go once they get there.
And the future of Freo is they've got a lot of young, talented players running around out there. What if, as a group, what are you guys sort of feeling? And what are you, like, you look at the Gold Coast, they've sort of got a core group of youngsters coming through. Is there sort of a similar feeling around West Coast now? And yeah, what is the sort of thought process around the future and that prospect?
Yeah, everyone's really excited, to be honest. It's not just that we got a lot of young kids. We got a lot of young leaders. Like Andy Brayshaw and Adam Chera especially. Those two guys are only 20 years old at the moment, and they're leaders of our club already. So to have those guys kind of to learn off, it's been fantastic. They're great mates, but they're also great people to learn off in terms of professionalism and how to play footy. So I think it's something like 20 or 21 guys that we've that have come through the club in the last 3 years. So they've gone to the draft, and we've got a lot of young blokes. And the best thing about it is the young blokes playing. We're fielding a young side each week, and everyone's improving and they're playing their role. So I think the best thing about it is, like I said, we've got young leaders, but we've also got really good people. All the young boys are really buying into the club culture, and I feel like there's really something building. I think everyone's really excited about getting back into kind of getting through the last 3 games, hopefully getting 3 wins, and then kind of getting really stuck into pre-season and seeing what we can do next year in the next few years. I think it's pretty exciting.
Fantastic. And it's a pleasure to have you on the Sports Hour, Caleb, and all the best for the season. And hopefully it all goes well the last couple of games. And thanks for coming on once again.
No, thanks, Max. Appreciate it, mate.
Cheers. And that was Caleb Sorong, youngster of the Fremantle Dockers. He's had a tremendous season, and he's actually now the favourite to win the Rising Star Award. And he's a player to look out for in the future. That's for sure. So thank him for coming on, and we wish him well. Now we're going to go to a break, and after the break, we're going to get a bit of a news update here, some stories going on in the sporting world. We're also going to get our callers on and see what our crowd has to say and any thoughts that they've got. So I look forward to having you after the break, and thanks for tuning into the Sports Hour.
With thanks to the City of Brimbank across our neighbourhood and the world, the Sports Hour with Max Hatzoglou on BRIMBANK Live on Live FM.